And can you make it so I can share my screen, I believe?
You can share it yourself if you go down to the bottom and hit share screen.
Okay, so I put together a PowerPoint that is right here. I believe everybody can see it.
Yes.
Okay, so that is our dispatch center. That is one of our consoles. I have worked for Fairbanks Emergency Communication Center for 17 or 18 years. It's been a long time that I try to forget how many years. So each one of our dispatchers, we have 3 dispatchers that are on at all times. This is where they sit and they monitor all these screens. The ones at the top are against the wall by the clock. We dispatch and we answer 911s for all of Fairbanks North Star Borough, all of Denali Borough, and Delta. So we dispatch for about 20 different fire agencies and 2 police departments. We do have a series of questions that we ask everybody when we answer a 911 call. They may seem like they are dumb questions to everybody else, but this is how we dispatch our fire department, and they understand what questions we asked and what the answers were based on these. So we will ask people to give us their address twice, just to make sure that we didn't get it wrong. We will ask people their phone number. We try to ask it twice, just in case we didn't hear somebody correctly. And during emergencies, sometimes people flip numbers or letters, and we don't want to delay anybody getting there. We will ask you, tell me exactly what happened. And when we ask you, tell me exactly what happened, is so we can determine which call we're going to, or which category that we're going to go to ask you questions. These questions that we ask are used internationally. So there's different countries, they have a little bit different wording, but they are pretty solid questions that ambulance crews give feedback and make sure that they are questions that they actually need an answer to. Since we're talking about falls, I brought up falls. There are actually a lift assist, which doesn't require an ambulance. Depending on what you say, you may get just the fire truck, or you may get the ambulance itself. So for the falls, these are questions that we ask. How far did you fall? What caused you to fall? Because if you got dizzy and fell, that's actually not handled on this call. Something else happened to you. And so we would go to and deal with that dizzy or unconscious feeling first, because that's truly what your problem is you got dizzy and then fell. So there's something else wrong. So we ask these questions. And then down below, you can see Alpha, Bravo, and Delta. Those are the 3 response levels. Depending on where you are in the borough or outside, depends on what apparatus or ambulance and fire trucks, or how many people are coming to help you. And so they know on this, an alpha level ambulance is the least amount of people that you will get, and they're probably not driving lights and sirens, because when they drive lights and sirens, sometimes that will make other people crash because they want to watch where the ambulance is going. A Bravo for most fire departments is the medical unit or the ambulance coming, lights and sirens, because you are possibly hurt in a dangerous area or you're seriously bleeding. But a Delta level ambulance will also send extra apparatus in case they need some extra people to help move you, bandage you, drive the ambulance, all of those things, in case the extra packaging, all of that stuff is needed. So they decide what they want to send and when. And this helps them know what they're going to deal with when they get there. So we ask all these questions. We also have some extra information. So when it says a possibly dangerous body area, that's if your abdominal was hit, your stomach, your back, your chest, your head, your upper legs, or your neck. Those are possibly dangerous areas and they're going to need more people. If you fell and you hurt your ankle, you probably don't need 5 people there to help you. You just need the medical crew, which is usually 2 or 3 people. And then they can help that. So outside extremities are usually what is not dangerous. This is some statistics on how many calls are alpha level that we send for all of our agencies that we dispatch for, all the 20 agencies. Alpha is about 450 a year. Bravos are a little over 800 and deltas are over 400. That's in 2019. And then you can see here that Fairbanks Fire has 808 calls that they deal with for falls. We took each agency and said, how many do you have to deal with in your area? So the tricky one here is North Pole responds into North Star's area. North Star, since it takes North Pole a little while to get there, North Star will be a first responder and they will show up first. That happens in a couple other areas like Chino, Goldstream, and Esther as well. Since the ambulance is a little bit further away, Esther will go because it's their fire area and assist the person before the ambulance gets there. That's in 2019. Here's 2020. We had a lot more alphas than we did bravos and deltas, but the numbers actually did get higher. I think it's also the deltas didn't happen because people weren't out in the snow, probably walking around quite as much. 2020 falls, 567 for Fairbanks Fire. Actually, you'll see in a second. And 2021, we're out and doing things, and we have a lot more people falling. So the falls are going up each year. This is 2021, and we're not even all the way done yet, and snow hasn't hit again. So I see these going up even more this year. So bravos and deltas. Delta is definitely the life danger one. You're either unconscious, you're having some severe difficulty breathing, or you're bleeding a lot. So here's the different agencies again. Fairbanks Fire is the highest. We do have the most calls for Fairbanks Fire anyways, but they are about 1/3 of our calls, I believe, that we handle a year. Here is one that shows 2019, the call levels for all the alpha levels. Here's the Bravo levels, 2019, 2020, and then 2021 already this year. So each year it's starting to go up. And here's 2019, 2020, and 2021. Okay, so we do have a lot of questions that we ask. And I want to make sure somebody can see my computer now. I should have an internet page up with a bunch of my family's pictures. Can everybody see that?
Yep.
Okay, so we have a program that the borough gives to us, and it's free to any resident and anybody outside. We have a program called smart911.com. Anybody can sign up for it. It does take a little bit of technical assistance, but not a lot. I can share whatever information I want to with the, I think I got muted. So I can share whatever information I want to with 911, and they don't have to be able to see my information. So I'll go into mine. You share your address and it's based off your phone number. So if you call 911, that's the only time this information shows up, is if I call 911 off of that phone. So I can share my address, all the information about me. We have pictures just for anybody that has kids or anything like that. So in here, I can share my physical description. I can share any allergies, breathing problems, cancer thing. You can share as much as you want or as little as you want. If somebody else calls for you, like your neighbor, they may not know all of your medical history. Or if you fall down because you get dizzy, maybe you hit your head and you're not able to tell us this information. This may help the ambulance. So we encourage people to fill this out. If it doesn't have anything to do with what you're calling us about, we will just simply close out the pop-up box that shows up and not share that information. You can, down here in special notes, you can tell us where a key is to your building. You can give us emergency contacts in a different area for people that don't live with you, just in case you want us to call them. You can give us what kind of vehicle you're driving, just in case you're in your vehicle and you have an emergency and you call on your cell phone and you're sitting in the Costco parking lot. We don't know who we're looking for. We have had people that have fallen down in parking lots and they're stuck between two cars and you have to wait for someone to see you. But otherwise, we know what kind of vehicle we're looking for to know where we're going close to. So all of that can help us in any way. We have people that are allergic to bee stings. They can't talk when they get too far along during a bee sting, and we don't know where we're going or what we're doing. Anybody that lives in Golden Towers or in Raven Estates, when you call 911, we don't always know which apartment you're in. If the phone company messes it up and it's a landline, we may not know where we're looking for you. Or if you're outside and you're on a cell phone, or if you fall down and you only have a cell phone, we don't know what room we're going to look for you. So this information can help us. We do have people that can kind of walk you through some of this if you have questions and can kind of help you. It is also based by an email address, and you have to sign in every 6 months to make sure that the information is current. You just have to sign in and close it out if nothing has changed. We do have the person that is, let's see, I'm going to stop my share. The person that talks to you on the phone is not always the person that is dispatching the fire department. So we may have more questions, or you may get silent when we're dispatching. Please don't hang up. We're still on the phone. We do more than one thing at a time. And when we talk to the responders, our phone will instantly go mute. We can still hear you. You just can't hear us. But we'll just want to know any changes. If you don't want to sign up for Smart 911, we do have a way that you can contact us. And Barbara has my email address. She can give it out to anyone. We do have a way that we can put your hide key information into our system, and we can give it straight to the fire department. If you have a lockbox, we can get the code for those lock boxes. I know that Lifeline will sometimes give us that information as well and tell us where hide keys are, or the numbers to get in, or if you have a back door, or if your neighbor has a key, any of that. We will take any information that we can to be able to assist you. I don't have a whole lot more information, but does anybody have questions? Or Barbara, do you want to wait to the end for questions?
It may be a good idea to answer questions right now while people are still thinking of it. So if you have a question, unmute your screen and you can just speak. Any questions?
Yes, I have a question. My condo has a lockbox outside it, and it's supposed to be openable by a key that the fire department and the EMTs have. So if they have that access, I probably wouldn't need to put any information in on how to get to my building. Is that correct?
You're correct. If they can get in that way, the police department cannot use that, but the fire and EMS can use that.
Okay.
On very, very rare occasions, we will call the fire department to let us in, but usually we're going to contact the condo association to let us in, because that is supposed to be a fire and EMS key, and police have to follow a different set of rules.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
Yes, I wondered if we sign up for Smart 911 here, would that information, health information and so forth be available if I were to fall and call 911 in Ohio or someplace else?
Yes, it will follow you anywhere that uses that same program. So Fairbanks is the only one in Alaska that uses it. But we have that information. So like if you're in Delta, we dispatch for them. If you're in Anchorage and you call 911 and we get it, we would transfer that information and pass it on. But if you're in Ohio and they use that program, they would see it too. There are certain states, and I believe it's Arkansas and maybe Alabama, the whole state is required to have access to this information. Their governor has put it that it is a mandate that every agency has access to that.
How do we go to smart911.com to do this?
Yes.
Thank you.
And if you actually are really not tech savvy, I put my in-laws under my name and I did it all for them. I did my mom's and my in-laws, and I have all of my stuff, and I just verify their stuff for them. And so I have somebody, I do it for them to make it easier for them.
Why would some states not want to be signed up with this? Or some areas?
It's a newer program, and some people use different flavors of the same program. The borough has paid for this program for a couple years. There's a couple different pieces to it that we use. And actually on Thursday, our center is one of them that's getting an award for using this program. We use it so often and we rely on different pieces of this program and we love it.
That's good to know.
We had one question from the chat area, and that was, what about safety from phishing?
Nobody has ever hacked into the system, and you can also share as much as you want. Like some of it is available in different places anyways, but there's really not anything that is like if I say who my doctor is or my date of birth, I mean, I can find that all over the internet anyways, but you can share as much as you want. You can not put all your medical, just doctor is this person. So you can share as much as you want, but the system, they know how vulnerable it could be, and they would, lose and have potential lawsuits. That this is not really a system that anybody wants to hack anyways.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's move on to Ashley, and just for your information, Jolene has some technical difficulties, but she will forward information about Lifeline to us, and we will pass it on to everyone. Ashley?
Thank you. Like Barbara said, my name is Ashley Christenson, and I am a paramedic here in Fairbanks. I am currently our region's training coordinator, so I'm responsible for training EMTs, or at least having training available for them. And I also created a PowerPoint. And I'm actually going to turn off my video because I just got a notification that my internet is poor. So I don't want to lose you guys. Can everybody see my screens?
Yes.
Okay. So Kristi did an excellent job of explaining what dispatch tells 911. And I just want to give dispatch a quick shout out because they really do have the hard job. So thank you, Kristi. But it really is the information you guys are giving to Kristi. They can pass it on to us. And it's super helpful when we are called to a house to know kind of ahead of time why this person fell, any issues with access. So like Kristi was saying in the Smart 911, if you guys put something like, please use this door, or the key is under our mat or whatever, that's super helpful for us because we're going to look there first if we don't get an answer at the door from you guys. If we do not get an answer when we can't find that key, then we can break down the door, but we would hate to do that because then, you know, where you have a door you have to fix once you get back from the hospital. Something else that's critical for us is, you know, you might have your address set up in Smart 911, but if it's not marked on the house, it's really hard for us to tell which house we're going to, especially if you're outside the city limits, you know, when you're out in, you know, Chena Ridge area or Goldstream Valley. So it's really helpful if you guys mark your house and put the signs at headlight level. A lot of people in Fairbanks like to put their street signs or house signs up in the trees, and our lights don't hit that, so we don't see it. So again, it's really helpful if you guys put that at headlight level or close to it, okay? And again, please tell dispatch, even if you don't feel comfortable setting up your Smart 911, just let us know through dispatch. Tell them that, you know, we need to break the door down. Maybe you're stuck in a bathroom and the door is locked. And you don't have a key. That way we're just a little bit more prepared. When we actually show up, one of the first things we do is we try and determine if there's any life threats. You know, that's airway issues, massive amounts of bleeding. And when we do come in quite fast because we are worried about life threats. And once we determine that there are no life threats, then we're going to ask you a bunch of questions, just like dispatch. But we're going to ask you more pointed questions because we're trying to figure out what caused you to fall. Was this, you know, a chest pain that caused you to fall down the stairs? And so now we're dealing with a trauma and a medical issue. Or was it something like maybe your medication was changed and it made you dizzy, or maybe it dropped your blood pressure? And so we can help with things like that. It's also really helpful for us if you guys have a list of medications, medical history, either in your cell phone in an app that we can get to, or written down and put with your medications. A lot of people will actually store this list on their fridge, and it's labeled clearly for EMS. And so we usually will go look there if you're not able to talk to us. Again, it's really helpful if we know your list of medications and your medical history, because that will really help us treat whatever is causing you to fall. And then this guy, this looks kind of scary, but if we feel like you fell from a height, or maybe you have osteoporosis and we're worried about broken bones, this is something that we will put you in, and it's actually really comfortable. This is called a full body vacuum splint, or a Swedish vacuum splint. And we will carefully lift you up and put you in it. And then what we do is we actually will take out all the air out of this device, and it becomes rigid and it conforms to you. So if you do have any injuries, it's not going to be forcing that injury down. So again, it's quite comfortable. If we do determine that, you know, there's no life threats, we're not worried that you broke anything, or maybe it was just a lift assist that you were calling us for, we're going to look around your house a little bit just to see if we can help prevent these future falls. So like rugs, we would recommend that you tape those down so that you can't trip over it. Cords are another big one that people trip on, especially in the holidays, you know, with Christmas lights. There are, you know, little Velcro things that you can get to help secure your cords so you don't trip over them. We also suggest to patients, you know, maybe install hand railing in the bathroom and in stairwells to help catch yourself. You know, maybe that was the issue. And then that was everything I had. I know that was really fast. So does anybody have any questions for me? So I see one in the chat. What does the emergency crew do if they encounter a gate across the driveway? We have an electric chain link type gate that we close at night. If I'm unable to open it, what happens? If there is a key that you guys can hide and tell dispatch about, we will utilize that. But all of our tools will pretty much go through any type of metal. So if we truly can't find a key or something like that, we will break it.
Do you find that there are more calls for falls in the winter in Fairbanks due to snow and ice?
I would say so. A lot of people will fall from their roof. They were like trying to shovel the snow off of, and that will cause them to fall. I've been to quite a few calls of just tripping on a rug. Chest pain downstairs is common as well.
I think there's more inside falls or falls at your residence or like around town, but long falls for dispatch, the ones that are really dangerous are people going out hiking that don't know where they are. Those ones also become an issue if we don't know who we're looking for, or if you don't tell somebody where you're going. Those ones take a little bit longer for us to find people. When your phone calls 911 and it's a cell phone, it doesn't always tell us exactly where you are. We get a little circle on a map. The further you are out of town, that circle can now be like, you know, a mile and a half that we're trying to figure out where somebody is. I had somebody in Salcha chopping wood, and he went down a trail and he had to army crawl on his arms because he dislocated his knee or broke his leg. And he did that until he could get to cell service. And so he was really bad off by the time he made it somewhere that his phone could actually work. And so my suggestion is for people that are going out and like to hike and, you know, do all these things, make sure somebody knows where you are, check in with them before you go and when you come back, just in case something happens on those ones. Those don't happen very often, but it is nice. If you're gonna go on your roof and clean off snow like I do, I made my daughter sit there with a cell phone. I said, if I fall, call 911 and say mom fell, because I had smart 911 so they know where to go. But make sure somebody knows you're going up there so you're not up there for hours, or it would be preferable that you had somebody else do it, actual business. But if you don't do that, make sure somebody knows you're going up there and when you came down.
Are there any other questions?
Yes, so Smart 911, you can, or 911, you can call from a cell phone or a landline, is that correct?
Correct.
As long as there's cell phone service.
Correct.
Yes.
But the smart speakers do not, like Amazon Alexa, you can't ask her to call 911. Okay.
No, you cannot call 911, but what I used to do at my mom's house is she had me as a contact on Alexa. So if my grandma fell, my grandma could say, call so-and-so, make sure you have a contact in there. So that way, or multiple, and then they can call for you. That would also be helpful as well. So if you had a couple people in your Alexa or something like that, that you could do that, that would be good too.
And I think some people have been confused about that. People thinking that, yes, you can use Alexa, but it doesn't work.
No.
For this, you've got to call a contact. Yeah.
Yes, you have to call a contact. And then I know Lifeline was going to be on here. We talk to Lifeline all the time. They have multiple different levels, depending on, you know, maybe you just want to have it in general, but maybe you had a surgery, so you need a fall one even more. Or, you know, I've had 2 hip surgeries after I had my kids, and if I would have fell, I would have had to have a contact too, and anything like that. So anything can happen to anyone at any time. I fell in my garage after having my twins, like a month after having them, and I broke my arm, but I couldn't get up off the ground either because I injured myself so bad that I started screaming in my garage and nobody could hear me for a little bit, even though they were in the house. And then they finally heard me, but I couldn't get up myself. And I was only 34 or something like that. I don't know, 32. And so I've been one of those people that, you know, I think about it afterwards. Oh, somebody should have known something.
So your recommendation is to have your cell phone in your pocket or on you all the time, no matter where you are in the house.
Especially if you are dizzy or you're having problems. I mean, a lot of people are like, I don't want to take my phone to the bathroom, but that's where you fall, is going to the bathroom on the way there. If you have an incident, yes, keep your phone with you all the time, or be able to yell loud enough for Alexa to call somebody.
Just a comment about handrails. An incident that happened to me a few years ago. I was out shoveling snow and apparently got some snow or ice packed under one of my feet.
Mhm.
And I was going down some stairs and I slipped and I grabbed onto a handrail and I grabbed a little too hard and I dislocated a finger. That still was probably a lot better than actually falling.
Yes. Yes, I would say so.
Any more questions? This is your opportunity. Okay, we still have time if anyone would like to tell their own stories. If not, you will hear from us with information about Lifeline. Oh, here's someone with a question. What is the question? How do you get up after you fall? Is the question.
Well, I feel like it really depends on how you fell. We always recommend to people that, you know, once you fall, to maybe lay down for a little bit. Don't jump back up because your body needs time to deal with that pain, and we don't want you to stand up really fast and cause a drop in blood pressure and pass out. So definitely take some time, make sure that you are okay, you're not dizzy, and make sure you haven't broken anything like your ankle or a leg. And then sit up slowly and see how you're doing in a seated position. If you feel dizzy at that point, I would lay back down and call 911. But if you feel okay in a seated position and you're able to roll over onto your knees and pick yourself up, you know, supporting yourself on a piece of furniture or something like that, that is the best way to stand up after you've fallen.
I have a comment.
Mhm.
My name is Louis, and
Hi.
I've had many experiences with falls where I tripped, and the first thing that other people want to do is pick you up.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing you want to have happen.
Right.
So you've already said that, but I just want to step on a little bit to make it even more.
Yeah, you are correct. It seems like it's just human nature that we want to help our loved ones and we want to help them up, but that's probably the last thing we need to do right now. If you are okay laying down, you know, you don't have a breathing issue to where you do have to sit up, we always recommend to just lay there for a minute, let your body, you know, heal a little bit, and then sit up slowly and see how you do. And then you can stand up from there if you're doing okay.
Many people who don't know you, like you're in an airport and trying to walk somewhere and you trip. for something.
Mhm.
They grab you and jerk you up. And I've had it happen to me a number of times. So just reminder, make it stronger.
I can also tell you, being on the 911 call, is that sometimes a male will fall and their wife can help pick them up. But if they pass out or go unconscious again, that is dead body weight. And now they're both down on the ground or both injured. I mean, sometimes one person can help pick you up because they're using their muscles, but if whatever reason they fell down happens again, now they're both injured. I've had people pinned up against the wall so they didn't drop the other person, like they helped lifted them like they were supposed to, nurses, and then they were both stuck on the wall because if they moved at all, they would drop them again.
Mhm.
I can tell you, when I fell and broke my arm being broken was the last thing that hurt on me. Everywhere else hurt. I broke all the blood vessels in my wrist from falling on my wrist. I hit my head, my knees, but I didn't even realize I was hurt until like an hour and a half later. And I was like, I don't think I can move my arm. And then I went to the doctor. So it does take a little bit of time when your body is trying to figure out what's going on to realize that you're hurt.
What's available in Fairbanks for devices like Lifeline? I'm not quite sure I know how it works. Are there other systems that people can use?
I only know of Lifeline. Maybe Kristi could shed some light on that.
I know Lifeline is our biggest one that we have. I'm not sure if there's another one. It does not ring off the top of my head. And I know Lifeline used to come also through FMH, but they also have backup numbers and call centers that will take those numbers as well. I think Lifeline pretty much has the monopoly for the most part on all of those.
Jolene did join our chat and says Lifeline is the only one in Fairbanks.
Is Lifeline those electronic?
Yes. Jolene says yes.
There
I'm sorry
is
that
also-
we didn't get more information from her, but as I said, we'll pass it on.
They have, like she said, they have wrist ones, and there is a monitor that is sitting in on a desk or something that we reset. The EMS resets it when they get there, but they will talk to you over that. If you push those buttons, they will talk to you. But I think you can also do it on the actual handset if you needed Lifeline as well, where the EMS or the ambulance resets that as well.
If you go online and look, search for medical alert systems, there are a lot of systems out there. But it wouldn't be associated with anybody here in Fairbanks, but there would be somebody online, as I understand it. I haven't gotten one, but
Sometimes Fairbanks runs into connection issues. We were looking at one for my grandma, and she lived in Eastern Oregon, and the town, wherever it was, the coverage didn't work in that area. So each company has to pay for coverage. So Lifeline may be the only one that wants to pay for coverage, kind of like a cell phone provider, to be able to use that system.
Okay.
Okay, well, if there are no more questions, I think we'll wrap it up for today. Thank you very much, Kristi and Ashley, and we look forward from getting additional information from Jolene, which we will pass on to everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For having me.
Thank you for having me. And Barbara, you can give my contact to anybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much
Thanks.
for a good program.
Thanks, everybody.